You're watching WAFF 48 News on your side with Gina Benitez. WAFF 48 News at noon starts now.
Welcome, and y'all. Thanks for joining us for our noon webcast. It's pretty cloudy out there, Jeff. So temperatures are warm, but that cloud cover I feel like is helping us out.
It is doing us a favor. It's kind of suppressed those temperatures.
Yeah.
It has suppressed the temperatures for areas, especially west. Now the cloud cover, yeah, we had that all morning. We're going to start to clear that out and pop a lot of sunshine. The one thing the cloud cover is not going to bring, though, it's not going to bring rainfall. The radar is dry and will stay dry much of the day today. There is a slight chance of a shower, but most areas will stay dry. You can see a little bit of evidence of those light maybe sprinkles trying to develop near Scottsboro. But for the most part, it's going to turn out to be just a sunny and hot day. Now, no rain in the forecast really for today, a slight chance tomorrow, but the new drought monitor got updated today, and we have some good news. A lot of the really bright red colors have been erased, and most of the area now in either moderate, abnormally dry, or nothing. And that's because we had 2 weeks worth of rainfall across the area. The problem we have, though, is we don't have very much rainfall in the forecast for the next 10 days. So we'll be keeping an eye on the drought monitor. We may start to see those colors come back if we don't get some rain soon. One area that does not want any more rainfall is in the Carolinas right now. Tropical storm Debbie still churning with winds 35 miles per hour. The center of low pressure just south and southwest of Raleigh, northwest of Myrtle Beach. Most of the rain has finally shut off in Charleston, which is good news. But now the rest of the area north of South Carolina, so North Carolina, Virginia, the mid-Atlantic states, soaking rainfall for the next 3 days. Even as Tropical Storm Debbie loses tropical features, it's still going to be this big area of low pressure that brings heavy rain all the way up the coast and eventually up into Canada. I know you don't think tropical storms in Canada go together, but they do, and they can get some very heavy rainfall, especially for areas in the Maritimes. So this will continue to track to the north as we go into the next 3 days. Forecast rainfall will be quite heavy, and with that heavy rainfall, locally an additional 4 to 8 inches in the areas in purple. So the flooding will continue even inland for areas like in New York and Pennsylvania, and that's where flooding potential will remain high for the next 3 days. We're not going to see much rainfall at all in our forecast. In fact, we're going to have a nice transition to some cooler temperatures by the weekend. Outside in Huntsville, 87 degrees right now. Kind of hazy, starting to see a little bit of sunshine. I see a few shadows. One area that's hanging on to the cloud cover a little bit more than everybody else is areas west, like in the Shoals, where you're still officially mostly cloudy and your temperature is only 80 degrees. So temperatures across the board are a big spread. A Scottsboro temperature is not correct at 99, but I would imagine you're pretty close to 90 because you've had a little sunshine earlier than everybody else. But you go west, well, we've had more cloud cover, and the temperatures are only in the 70s in Russellville and Lawrenceburg. Dew points still are high, though. It is incredibly humid outside. When your dew points are like mid-70s, we call that the air you can wear, and it certainly feels uncomfortable. And what it does, it brings that heat index value up. So areas that have seen more sunshine, we already have heat index values in the 90s. Where we've had some cloud cover, you don't quite have that impressive heat index yet, but give it time. Once you pop a little sunshine, you too will start to feel close to 100 degrees this afternoon. But some changes come. It's part of a cold front. Here's Tropical Storm Debbie working up the coast, big pocket of mainly dry conditions. And then this frontal boundary here, you see some showers associated with it now moving through Missouri. As it moves closer to our area and impacts our area for Friday, it brings a slight chance of a shower, but it's a game changer when it comes to temperature. Because what it's going to do, it's going to take that hot stuff and that humid stuff that we've had this week and bring it way down. So it'll come with a little breeze, and the change arrives on Friday, still in the 90s on Friday. But by the time we get to Friday evening, like if you're going to the Pandas game, it will feel so good outside. The dew points are dropping, the air is crisp, and it feels good. And then on Saturday and Sunday, what a beautiful August weekend. I just put pleasant and still pleasant, because not only are the temperatures by day nice in the 80s, but your overnight lows will fall back into the 60s. And I would not be shocked when I'm working either Saturday or Sunday morning that a few locations may be in the upper 50s. It's that refreshing. But it's August. It doesn't stick around forever. Temperatures will go right back up next week. But the one constant that holds true, not much rainfall in that 10-day forecast.
Jeff, thank you. Happening now, a bond hearing for a former part-time DeKalb County deputy charged with child sex crimes. A judge is hearing arguments on prosecutors' request that Joshua Wells remain in jail without bond. He's accused of forcing a 15-year-old boy to have sex with him. The alleged incident happened a year ago. We have a crew in court monitoring the situation, and we will update you on the judge's decision online as soon as we get that information. New information now on a teenager's murder in Sheffield. WAFF obtained court records that go into specifics about the shooting that left Demilah Nixon Johnson dead. This affidavit lays out witness accounts and evidence police collected that led them to arrest 18-year-old Larmarian Bethany. Bethany was driving a car with 4 others inside. Now, according to one witness, Bethany drove in front of a house on Nashville Avenue through a crowd of people and someone heard a pop. Witnesses say he then drove for another block, put the car in park, and walked back toward the block party and opened fire. Bethany reportedly returned to the car without saying a word, turned the radio up, and drove to Decatur. One witness told authorities everyone in that car was freaking out. When one mentioned they should call police, Bethany said he would shoot her and throw her body on the side of the road. Bethany remains in the Colbert County Jail, being held without bond until a hearing 1 week from today. A Florence man is behind bars after a grand jury indicted him for an almost decade-old double murder out of Colbert County. Travis Follows will now go to trial for the 2015 deaths of Gary Baskins, Kayla Glover, and her unborn child. The Attorney General's office has not commented on exactly what role he's accused of playing in their deaths. Vicki Holt, Gary's mother, says she will never forget the last conversation she had with her son the night before he was killed.
Yeah, he was talking about, asked me where I was at, and I told him that I was at a revival, and he said, I said, do you need anything? He's like, no, you at that revival, you stay there. He said, I was just going to take a shower, and he said, I'll call you back tomorrow, and I love you, and that's the last thing I heard from him.
Fallows is currently being held without bond. Sean Ryan, who is also charged in the case, is expected to be in court in a week. A Colbert County grand jury indicted this man here, Jerry Fisher, on a murder charge. He was initially arrested and charged with manslaughter earlier this year. He's accused of killing his neighbor, John Farley, during a property dispute. Now to a 48 News update out of Limestone County. Belle Mina residents are still doing everything they can to stop a controversial rock quarry from opening in their community. The company behind it was in the environmental planning phase when progress came to a halt. That's because the Belle Mina Ministerial Association filed a Title VI complaint against the company. In that complaint, residents claim ADEM, along with Grayson Carter and Sons, used U.S. Census Bureau data to justify opening the quarry. Reverend Cody Gillum says plans to build it should stop altogether.
If they put in this quarry, those children will never escape dirty air because of Grayson Carter and Son. And that is not only a travesty, but Grayson Carter and Son should have a hard time sleeping at night because of that.
All progress on the permit for the quarry will stop until the investigation into the complaint has finished. Crews are working to fix some power poles after a crash involving a semi. Several people lost power because of it. This is the scene here along Memorial Parkway and English Drive Southwest. The impact of that crash caused those power lines to fall in the road. No injuries were reported. Well, get ready to see WAFF 48 anchor Liz Hurley in action tomorrow at the Trash Pandas game. She will be throwing out the first pitch. This is a look at her practicing there. It will be taking place on Breast Cancer Awareness Night, and we will be collecting donations for the Liz Hurley Patient Assistant Fund at Huntsville Hospital Foundation. Liz's daughter, Olivia, will be singing the national anthem. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We will be back here streaming 48 News at 4 while Olympic coverage continues on NBC. You can find us on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and YouTube. Our regular newscasts return to the television tonight at 5.